Welcome to another video from explainingcomputers.com. Earlier this year I did a video about a fantastic video editing package called DaVinci Resolve, which you can download for free. Now, since I posted that video, people have asked me lots and lots of questions about Resolve, and therefore I thought I'd make this FAQ. Now, most of the things I'll talk about in this video are how to do specific editing tasks with Resolve, but three big questions keep coming up, so I'll get them out of the way quickly at the start. Firstly, is DaVinci Resolve really free? Well, yes it is. There is a free version of DaVinci Resolve, but you have to download that free version. Once you've gone to blackmagicdesign.com, you've gone to the download section for Resolve, you must download DaVinci Resolve, not DaVinci Resolve Studio. DaVinci Resolve is the free version, DaVinci Resolve Studio isn't the free version, you won't get free software doing that. Secondly, many people have asked me here in the YouTube comments, is DaVinci Resolve a virus? Because they've gone and downloaded that file and then when they've clicked on it, they've got a security alert. That's perfectly normal. DaVinci Resolve is not a virus. It is very legitimate software, but your computer might ask you, do you really want to install it with a security alert? That's fine. Finally, people keep asking, well, if it's free, is the output watermarked? Is there something overlaid on the final images that come out of DaVinci Resolve? And no, there isn't. It's not watermarked. So there we are. It is definitely available for free. It's not a virus. It isn't watermarked. So let's get on with doing some exciting stuff with DaVinci Resolve. Right, here we are in DaVinci Resolve, and the thing that people ask me about doing more than any other is doing a picture-in-picture effect, overlaying one piece of video on top of another. So what I'm going to do, I'm here in the media screen, which is where you start off your DaVinci Resolve work, and I've got various clips here showing from our media storage on one of the drives I'm using. And remember, the way you work things in Resolve, you locate a clip in your media storage, you drag it down into your media pool. I'll drag down two clips here, and we'll use those in this example. One of those is a clip of a nanobot moving along doing whatever nanobots do, and the other clip is a clip of me just opening up a video with a bit of audio. There we are, me talking to me. That's very strange. Anyway, I'll go to our edit screen. I'll drag the first of those clips, the clip of me, down to the timeline. Just before we deal with the other clip, just to point out to you, you can change the way this timeline is displayed in quite a few ways. If you click on the icon here, you can see we can change from displaying a timeline clip with all of the video having all of its images on top to having just images at the start and the end. Or to be honest, I tend to edit looking like this, just seeing a file name, it makes it a lot, I think, neater, but most people edit looking something like that. And if you want to, you can change the height of these clips to have a more clear timeline if you've got, say, a very large monitor, and you can show things like your audio waveforms, which I'll do here so we can see where the audio is playing. Anyway, let's imagine by about here we wanted to have a clip maybe replacing this logo on top of that on the screen. So I could take my nanobot clip and put it on top of that video. Now I can't drag it straight down here straight away because there isn't a track to drag it to. We've only got video 1 as a track here. But what I can do is to drag it down to video 1 and then drag it up, which will create a new track, video 2, which we can use for this clip. Alternatively, I could have gone over here to the video area and clicked and done add track, but it's easiest to add a track just by dragging a clip down and dragging it up to an empty space. So I'll take this clip and I'll drop it over here. So maybe it appears about there. But of course, if I play that, you know what it's going to show. It'll show me, and then of course it'll cut to that other clip. That doesn't give us one clip on top of the other, or at least not in the way you would expect. So what we need to do is to open up the inspector. And the inspector is really the heart of Resolve in terms of working with clips. You can do almost all of the transitions you need and all the work with clips you need in the inspector if you want to. So for example, here you can change the opacity of a clip. I can take that down, show me, back up again. You could animate, dissolve some things up here. But here what we want is the transform section, where we'll change the size of the clip, zoom. So we'll zoom it down to be about maybe that big, I guess. About that, I think, maybe. And then we'll reposition it, position it a bit more over that way, over about, say, there. And we'll obviously drag it up as well. Where does it want to be? It wants to be about there. And there we are. We now have the clip. So if we play that, we've got our video, and suddenly our moving clip appears at the top. That's how you do picture-in-picture basically in Resolve. Now, as I mentioned, you can animate this lot. Everything here is animatable with keyframes, so maybe we want that to drop into shot. So we'll maybe say that by here it should be fully in shot. So we'll go up here and on position, add a keyframe by clicking on the keyframe icon, it'll turn red. And if we go down to the timeline, we can also click on keyframe here, and you can see that keyframe's been added to the clip. We'll then drag back to the start of the clip, maybe we want this to drop in, and we'll there then alter the position by dragging upwards, and a bit more as well. How's it going to go? Off the screen, it'll be about there. And therefore, if we play that now, you will see there's our clip, and beautifully it drops into place. As you probably also noticed, we've got lots of other things we can actually change here. You can change the rotation of a piece of video. You can change its pitch, rotate it another direction. You can change its yaw, rotate it another direction there. You can flip it over if you want in different directions. You can crop it, take bits in and out. You've got an enormous control over a piece of video in this really nice, very well executed inspector screen. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is how you do a crossfade in Dissolve, how you transition from one image to another by mixing between the two. Now, this is achieved by having two clips overlapping as we have here, and there's various ways you can do it. The most obvious way perhaps is to go to the effects library and to go down to the effect for cross dissolve and to drag it down here onto the clip, and if we play that you'll see a transition one clip to the other, and you can alter the length of that by pulling it out, etc. But to be honest, that's not the easiest way to do this in Resolve. Another way you could do it is you could go to your clip here. We could go into the inspector, which is still open, to toggle on and off, and we could set a key for opacity here, and we could go back over here and we could take it down, and that would also allow us to do a transition from one clip to the other in a nice controlled way. But actually we don't even have to do that. I'll just Control Z a couple of times on the keyboard to get rid of those clips. It's now no longer got its thing in there, they've all gone. The easiest way to do this is to go down to a clip, and you'll see it has these little handles which we can drag. And if you just drag those across, that automatically allows you to do a very straightforward change in opacity, which gives you the dissolve effect. So I could drag to about there and it would do that. So these are very handy. If we look at the end of this, this is a black timeline by default. So if we drag that across on the end of that clip, I got it right, there we are, we'd then have a fade to black on the end of our clip by having it using that handle. So those handles are very useful to actually do very basic but very, very standard effects. They also work on audio. If you want to fade out your audio on the end, again grab the handle and you've got the transition there. So a lot of the time you can do a lot of editing in Resolve by just basically putting clips in place, dragging these little handles, and things work very well. One thing to point out though is if you change the display of your timeline, you might not have these handles in view, because if you say go to a very narrow video view like that one, the handle isn't there. So you have to make sure you're displaying enough on screen to allow Resolve to put the handle in place so you can use them. Okay, something a lot of people have asked about is, can you use DaVinci Resolve to add music or other forms of audio to your clips? And of course, as it's a professional video editor, you can. So I'll show you how you do that. Here I've got a few video clips we can use just to make up a quick sequence. And I'm going to go to a folder containing some audio stings. There, I'll drag this one down into the package, and if you play it, it sounds like this. There we are, a little sting I've used a lot in my Explaining the Future videos. Just to point out, this is a WAV file. We go to display the names here, hopefully you'll see that that's a WAV file. Resolve will read in WAV files, AIFF files. It won't read in MP3 files, at least at the moment. So if you've got music or audio in MP3 format, what you'll have to do is convert it, say, to WAV. If you've not got software to do that, I would suggest you go to the Audacity website, download Audacity, and use it to convert your file MP3 to a WAV file, and you can bring it into DaVinci Resolve. Anyway, once we've got our files here, we can go to the editor, and I'll grab my Egypt sting file and drag it down to the timeline. You can see here I've got this set up. If we look in the setup for the timeline, I've got audio waveform showing, and I've got the height of the audio file quite large so I can see the waveform quite clear to work on a piece of music. If we play this thing, go back over here, we can see it'll play over there. And what we want to do is add some clips to that. So maybe we'll start with the one already lying over here. So we'll drag that down to the timeline, and we might want it starting at the start. About there is the end of that, isn't it? So that would give us a little bit nice bit of music sync. It would go, and we could then maybe take, I don't know, this clip. I'm going to shorten the clips before I drag them down to the timeline because they're quite long. Put it down there. That's the next motion. This is the way you normally put a audio cut together. You work from the waveform and go back and forth to find the right points. There's the next one, I think. So we'll take that. We'll take maybe this nanobot here. And again, actually we'll have that bit of clip. I think we'll have that bit to say. That bit. This is just a very, very, very quick way showing you the basics of doing audio cutting, and of course I lost my position there. We want it to be about there. We'll put that in there, and that in there. And finally, what haven't we used? There must be something here I haven't used. It's that one, I think. Again, I'll shorten it slightly first. We'll maybe take that to that, pull that down here. And if I've got this right, I've shown you how to do a very quick music cut in Resolve. Let's see if it works. Yes, there we have the basis of cutting things to a music track in DaVinci Resolve. Okay, a final couple of things I wanted to note are what we have in the brand new version of Resolve, at least brand new now in May 2016, which is Resolve 12.5. First in here, if you go to the delivery screen, this is where you take your edit, you add it to the render queue and you render it out. Here we've now got, as you can see up here, a preset for YouTube and indeed presets for Vimeo. So you don't have to think about exactly how you output stuff. You can select the YouTube output and then within that set various settings. You'll see YouTube outputs by default to QuickTime. We've had discussions about QuickTime on this channel, but that'll work perfectly well. The other thing is perhaps even more exciting. If you're back in your edit screen or indeed your media screen, if you're using just a one monitor setup, it's clearly not terribly handy to have only having playback in these small screens to see what's going on in your video. But fear not, they've now added a new viewing mode in Workspace called Viewer Mode, and you can activate this with a menu or pressing Ctrl F, and if we do that, there we are, we've now got a full screen view. If I now press the spacebar to start playback, there we are, we can watch our video in its full glory, at full screen, and then when we're finished, Ctrl F will get us back again. So there we are, just a final couple of points to note in the latest version of DaVinci Resolve. Following the release of version 12.5, DaVinci Resolve is now a very real alternative to high-end packages like Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro and the Avid video editor. In this video I'll show you just some of the things that Resolve can do. There is of course much more it can do, and if you'd like to see me demonstrate more functions of DaVinci Resolve, please let me know down in the comments section. But now that's it for another video, and I hope to talk to you again very soon.